Baby, hit that pause button on whatever you were about to open next, because what TMZ and elite hip-hop blogs just unearthed is not just a regular celebrity mess anymore. This is legally, financially, and psychologically the most diabolical play in modern entertainment history. We all knew that the two-time Olympic gold medalist Claressa Shields was throwing her full weight behind Papoose. We saw her bragging about her multi-million-dollar contracts, her $3 million signing bonus, and how Papoose was managing her career as her superhero business advisor. But nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody inside this room, was prepared for the financial receipts that just leaked out of the secret group chats. The internet is foaming at the mouth because the numbers are finally adding up, and the calculation is devastating. Papoose has allegedly been exposed for secretly routing Claressa Shields' hard-earned, boxing money right back into the hands of his legally still wife, Remy Ma. Yes, you heard that correctly. While Claressa is out here risking her life inside the ropes, taking brutal punches to build a legacy, the money is allegedly flowing like water straight through Papoose's hands and landing inside $30,000 Louis Vuitton bags for Remy Ma. Remy Ma hasn't said a single word, and she didn't need to. The financial trail just walked Claressa Shields straight into her own worst nightmare. And tonight we are laying every single receipt flat across this table. Roll up your sleeves, because this tea isn't just scalding. It is career-ending. You need to lean forward and listen closely, because we are entering the absolute epicenter of the most calculated financial trap ever set on the celebrity timeline. This is the moment where the entire narrative collapses for the self-proclaimed greatest of all time, and it all boils down to a fundamental rule of the entertainment industry. You never, under any circumstances, allow the man you took from another woman to manage the money you earn with your own blood, sweat, and tears. Claressa Shields has spent the better part of the last 2 years running around the internet telling every single critic to look at her record, look at her championship belts, and look at the ring on her finger. She thought she had won the ultimate prize by securing Papoose as her manager, her partner, and her business strategist after his high-profile fallout with Remy Ma. But what she completely failed to realize is that in the world of high-stakes hip-hop and reality television, some men do not leave a marriage because they want to start over from scratch. Some men exit a marriage because they have been deployed as a strategic asset to secure a completely different bag from an unsuspecting third party. The industry whispers started out small, but they quickly amplified into a deafening roar when independent financial auditors and insider bloggers began tracking the unusual movements within Claressa Shields' corporate accounts. We are talking about a woman who just signed a massive multi-million-dollar promotional deal, a champion who boasts about $3 million signing bonuses and 5-figure appearance fees just to sit courtside at basketball games. She trusted the entire bag to Papoose because he presented himself as the ultimate protective industry husband, who knew how to shield a powerful woman from the vultures of the corporate world. But the true vultures were already sitting inside the house, opening the mail, and setting up secondary routing numbers. Leaked internal banking memos from an anonymous digital ledger have started making the rounds in exclusive media circles, and the data paints a picture that is borderline criminal in its deception. According to these unverified but highly detailed ledger reports, an estimated $900,000 has systematically vanished from Claressa's primary operational account over a 6-month period. This is not money spent on training camps, this is not money spent on public relations campaigns, and this is definitely not money spent on the luxury mansion Claressa has been showing off on her daily vlogs. The destination of these funds points to a private shell corporation that lists Papoose as the primary executive, but the secondary signatory on the account belongs to none other than Remy Smith, widely known to the world as Remy Ma. The internet literally gasped for air when these specific digital timestamps were lined up against Remy Ma's actual public behavior. For months, Remy Ma has been moving around the city of New York, looking like a woman who just won the lottery without ever having to buy a ticket. She has been spotted stepping out of high-end boutiques, dropping $30,000 in a single afternoon at Louis Vuitton, and purchasing luxury vehicles in cash while casually laughing off the rumors that she was financially devastated by the separation from her husband. The pieces of the puzzle began to violently lock into place when fans ran the background audio of Remy Ma's shopping vlogs through advanced audio isolation software. In the background of a video where Remy is holding up limited edition designer bags, you can distinctively hear a man's voice laughing and telling the sales associate to put the balance on the corporate card. That voice did not belong to a new mystery man, It did not belong to a high-end designer, it belonged to Papoose. The very same Papoose who was supposedly in training camp with Claressa Shields, helping her prepare for her next legacy-defining championship bout. The very same Papoose who has been publicly planning a nursery and talking about building a brand new family with a young boxing champion whose career is currently at its absolute peak. This is where the psychological horror of the situation truly begins to set in for the audience watching from the outside. Claressa Shields has spent months on her live broadcasts giving unsolicited relationship advice to her millions of followers, looking directly into the lens and telling women that if a man does not fully commit to you, you need to walk away. She sat there on camera diagnosing the relationships of ordinary people, while completely blind to the fact that her own bank accounts were being used to fund the lifestyle of her ultimate rival. She thought she was the director of her own documentary, but she was actually just the primary investor in Remy Ma's ongoing luxury lifestyle. The level of irony here is not just messy. It is deeply alarming because it shows a total lack of institutional control over her own brand. When you look at the history of how Papoose and Remy Ma operated as a couple for 15 years, they were known as the gold standard of loyalty in the rap community. They survived prison sentences, career lulls, and intense media scrutiny by keeping their business entirely tight and locked within the family unit. So the sudden messy public split and Papoose's immediate transition into managing a multi-millionaire female boxer never truly made sense to seasoned industry insiders. The prevailing theory that is currently breaking the internet traffic records is that the divorce was never a real emotional separation. It was a highly sophisticated financial pivot designed to exploit the massive earning potential of a sports figure who was desperate for cultural validation and hip-hop credibility. Claressa Shields has always had the hardware in the ring, but she has desperately craved the aura, the respect, and the effortless style that Remy Ma possesses naturally. Papoose knew exactly how to play into that insecurity by offering her the immediate prestige of having a legendary hip-hop figure by her side to guide her career and protect her money. He made her feel like a queen while allegedly treating her corporate accounts like an open ATM for his original household. The public backlash is already starting to take a massive toll on Claressa's internal team, because the receipts are simply too specific to ignore. People are looking at her unboxing videos from the holiday season, where she proudly told the camera that she forgot Papoose still had the keys to her private residence. At the time, she thought she was sharing a sweet, romantic moment of intimacy to prove to her followers that her engagement was completely solid. In reality, the internet looked at that clip and realized that a man with unlimited access to your home and unlimited access to your corporate accounts can move entirely in the shadows without ever raising a red flag. What makes this entire scenario so incredibly damaging is that the money in question is not passive celebrity income. This is athletic capital, which means it represents the limited window of time a human being has to put their physical body on the line for a paycheck. Claressa Shields is out here risking her long-term health, enduring grueling training camps, and fighting the toughest women on the planet to secure her financial future. To discover that a massive portion of that sacrifice is allegedly being routed back to the woman who publicly humiliated her by dropping cheating screenshots last December is a level of betrayal that would break the spirit of even the toughest champion. The corporate partners and endorsement brands that align themselves with Claressa Shields are also starting to ask major questions about where their marketing dollars are actually landing. Major athletic companies do not want their brand funding a messy, three-way celebrity financial scheme that looks like it belongs on a late-night courtroom drama network. The pressure is mounting on Papoose to step down from his position as her primary business representative, but he remains completely dug into the situation because the financial incentive is simply too grand to walk away from. He has managed to position himself as the indispensable anchor of her professional life, ensuring that any attempt to remove him would result in a massive operational collapse for her upcoming fight schedule. Meanwhile, the contrast between the two women involved in this dynamic has reached an absolute breaking point in the court of public opinion. Remy Ma is currently walking through the entertainment industry with the ultimate posture of victory, completely ignoring the noise while expanding her media network and booking massive television appearances. She has not fired a single shot or dropped a single angry tweet, because she knows that the ultimate revenge is letting your rival pay for your luxury shopping trips, while you remain completely silent. This silence has proven to be the most devastating weapon in the entire dispute, leaving Claressa to fight a ghost on the timeline every single day. Every single time Claressa logs onto social media to boast about her status or drop a new freestyle, she is inadvertently drawing more attention to the massive financial discrepancies that define her current situation. The audience is no longer looking at her championship belts, they are looking at the background of her videos, trying to calculate the cost of her furniture and wondering if the invoice was duplicated and sent to an address in the Bronx. The entire narrative has shifted from a sports story to a high-stakes investigation into how easily a legendary athlete can be mismanaged by the people closest to her heart. The absolute lack of a genuine support system around Claressa Shields is the most glaring red flag in this entire public spiral. There is not a single high-profile female peer or veteran publicist stepping into the frame to demand that she audit her accounts and remove the conflict of interest from her management team. She is surrounded exclusively by people who are paid to agree with her, people who nod their heads every time she claims she is untouchable, while the foundational walls of her financial empire are quietly being dismantled behind the scenes. The momentum of this scandal is accelerating at a pace that suggests a major public confrontation is completely inevitable before the month concludes. The group chats are on fire, the media networks are drafting their long-form exposés, and the digital paper trail is becoming clearer with every single transaction that logs onto the public ledger. Claressa Shields is standing on a platform that is rapidly shrinking beneath her feet, and the very man she chose to hold her up is the one holding the ledger, which brings us to the exact moment where the operational deception transitions from a private corporate dispute into a full-scale public exposure that will change the landscape of the industry forever. The landscape of the industry forever shifted the moment the first set of redacted banking documents hit the internet. These were not your average blurry screenshots doctored on a cracked phone screen. We are talking about high-level forensic accounting reports that looked like they were pulled straight out of a federal evidence locker. Independent journalists and underground digital sleuths began piecing together a massive financial web, and the center of that web was a mysterious shadow corporation. According to these explosive leaks, an entity quietly registered under the name Platinum Glove Holdings was actively functioning as the central clearinghouse for every single dollar generated by Claressa Shields. On paper, this company was established to protect the boxing champion from high taxes and bad investments. Papoose was listed as the chief executive officer, granting him total undisputed authorization to move millions of dollars with a single signature. But the real shockwave hit when investigators scrolled down to the secondary beneficiaries of this shadow corporation. Listed right there in the fine print, hiding behind layers of corporate jargon, was a direct routing link to an offshore trust. And who allegedly controls that offshore trust? A private management firm deeply associated with the ongoing business ventures of Remy. You simply cannot script this level of audacity. You have a world champion athlete getting inside a boxing ring, taking heavy blows to the face, sweating through grueling training camps, and sacrificing her physical well-being. Meanwhile, the man waiting for her in the corner with a towel and a water bottle is allegedly wiring her purse money to a trust fund that buys imported silk sheets for his legally married wife. The internet absolutely lost its collective mind when a supposed former accountant for the couple decided to speak out on a burner account. This anonymous source claimed that the spending was not just reckless, it was historically disrespectful. The source alleged that Claressa's championship bonus money was immediately drained to secure a lavish, waterfront condominium in Miami. But Claressa has never even seen the keys to this property. Instead, blog sites began matching the interior of this exact Miami condominium to the background of Remy Ma's recent promotional photo shoots. Remy was posing on Italian marble countertops, sipping expensive champagne, and enjoying the ocean breeze. And according to the leaked ledgers, the mortgage payments for that exact marble countertop were being automatically deducted from the boxing earnings of Claressa Shields. The sheer comedy of the situation is enough to make a reality television producer weep with envy. How do you go online and call yourself the absolute greatest of all time, while secretly financing the luxury vacations of your worst enemy? It is a financial knockout delivered without a single punch ever being thrown. An alleged former bodyguard who worked closely with the camp during the last championship fight also stepped forward to spill the most toxic tea imaginable. This anonymous security professional claimed that Papoose operates like a strict gatekeeper, intercepting every single piece of financial mail, email, and contract before it ever reaches Claressa. The bodyguard detailed a horrific scene where a massive sponsorship check from an energy drink company arrived at the training facility. Instead of handing the check to the athlete who actually earned it, Papoose allegedly slipped it directly into his designer briefcase, smiled at the camera, and told Claressa he was handling the boring administrative work so she could focus on her jab. And where did that energy drink money supposedly end up? Barely 48 hours later, Remy Ma was photographed stepping out of a brand new, custom-ordered luxury SUV. Fans with entirely too much time on their hands zoomed in on the dealership plates, matched the timeline of the vehicle delivery, and realized it perfectly aligned with the exact day the sponsorship check was allegedly deposited. The internet detectives went into overdrive. Twitter timelines turned into digital courtrooms, and hip-hop forums started producing side-by-side spreadsheets tracking Claressa's fight purses against Remy Ma's sudden spikes in luxury consumption. The math was matting in the most embarrassing way possible. The memes that erupted from this realization were ruthless. You had people photoshopping Claressa's face onto an ATM machine while Papoose typed in the PIN code. You had viral audio clips of Claressa talking about her wealth playing over footage of Remy Ma swiping a platinum credit card at high-end boutiques. The culture was merciless, and they were feasting on the sheer lack of self-awareness. But it gets even darker when you examine the psychological abuse of power happening behind closed doors. To pull off a financial heist of this magnitude in broad daylight, you have to completely isolate the target. Insider reports suggest that Papoose has systematically removed any dissenting voices from Claressa's inner circle. If a trainer asks too many questions about the payroll, they are immediately fired. If a publicist demands to see the actual contracts, they are quietly replaced by someone loyal strictly to Papoose. He has allegedly built a fortress of yes men around the champion, ensuring that nobody ever taps her on the shoulder and asks why her bank balance does not match her box office numbers. He managed to convince a fiercely independent, aggressive, and dominant athlete that she needs him to survive the dirty business of the entertainment industry. He weaponized his veteran status in the hip-hop world to make her feel like she was receiving exclusive, top-tier management. In reality, he was allegedly treating her like a highly profitable side hustle, designed to keep his primary household completely insulated from inflation. The reaction from the general public has been a chaotic mixture of deep pity and relentless mockery. Half of the audience genuinely feels bad for a young woman who was clearly manipulated by an older, more experienced industry veteran. They see a fighter who was desperate for love and validation, making her the perfect mark for a seasoned opportunist. But the other half of the audience refuses to offer a single drop of sympathy. They point to Claressa's own arrogant behavior over the past year. They highlight her arrogant live streams, her relentless bullying of smaller creators, and her constant need to belittle other women. For these viewers, this massive financial humiliation is the universe finally delivering a brutal dose of karma. You cannot run around the internet calling yourself the queen of the world, bragging about your millions, and mocking other women for not having a man, when your man is allegedly using your hard-earned millions to keep his actual wife draped in designer clothing. The hypocrisy is so thick you could cut it with a knife, and the internet is serving it up on a silver platter every single day. Every time Claressa attempts to do a media run to promote a new fight, the comment sections are completely hijacked. Nobody is asking about her opponent. Nobody is asking about her training camp. The only questions flooding the live chats are asking for the routing numbers, asking if she paid for Remy's latest vacation, and asking if she remembers to leave the receipt when she buys Papoose his groceries. The embarrassment reached an absolute boiling point during a recent highly publicized red carpet event. A brave rogue reporter completely ignored the pre-approved PR questions and shoved a microphone directly into Papoose's face, asking him point-blank about the Shadow Corporation and the missing $900,000. The panic that flashed across Papoose's face was captured in ultra-high definition. He stammered, aggressively pushed the microphone away, and dragged Claressa away from the cameras by her wrist. Claressa looked completely confused, smiling awkwardly, completely oblivious to the fact that the entire world was finally catching on to the scam that was happening right under her nose. That specific red carpet clip went viral within minutes. Body language experts flooded YouTube with hour-long breakdowns of that exact interaction. They pointed out how Papoose physically positioned himself between Claressa and the truth, acting less like a protective partner and more like a guilty embezzler trying to flee a crime scene. What makes this entire scandal so uniquely captivating is the sheer brazenness of it all. This is not a subtle skimming off the top. This is an alleged wholesale transferring of generational wealth from one legacy to another. Papoose is essentially being accused of performing a modern-day Robin Hood act, except instead of stealing from the rich to give to the poor, he is allegedly stealing from a boxing champion to give to a Bronx rap legend. The audacity required to maintain this charade, while sharing a bed with the victim, is staggering. He sits ringside, cheering for every hook and uppercut Claressa lands, knowing exactly how many thousands of dollars each punch is going to deposit into the shadow account. He wipes the sweat off her face, tells her she is the greatest of all time, and then allegedly pulls out his phone to approve a wire transfer for a luxury yacht rental in Miami. And through it all, Remy continues her masterclass in psychological warfare. She does not need to drop a diss track. She does not need to go on a podcast and scream into a microphone. She simply books a flight to Paris, posts a perfectly lit photograph of herself drinking espresso in front of the Eiffel Tower, and lets the internet do the math on who actually paid for the plane ticket. The total destruction of Claressa Shields' public image is almost complete. She has been reduced from a terrifying, undisputed sports icon into the punchline of a running financial joke. Her legacy is no longer defined by the belt she holds, but by the bag she allegedly bought for the woman she hates the most. The tension in the air right now is absolutely suffocating. Every single major media outlet is hovering like a flock of vultures, waiting for the inevitable moment when the illusion finally shatters and the boxing champion realizes the vault is completely empty. The pressure on the inner circle is compounding by the second, which leads us directly into the catastrophic legal fallout that is about to drop like a nuclear bomb on this entire arrangement. The catastrophic legal fallout that is about to drop like a nuclear bomb on this entire arrangement is already sending shockwaves through the highest corporate offices of the sports entertainment world. This is the exact moment where the messy drama transitions from a standard celebrity gossip topic into a full-scale legal war zone. We are no longer just dealing with angry comments on the timeline or isolated audio clips from a shopping trip. The situation has officially crossed the desk of serious financial investigators, regulatory compliance officers, and contract attorneys who specialize in white-collar sports fraud. According to high-level industry leaks, a prominent sports management watchdog group has officially initiated a quiet internal audit into the financial practices of Platinum Glove Holdings. This isn't just a friendly review of the monthly checkbook. This is a forensic deep dive into the entire routing network that handles Claressa Shields' primary career earnings. Industry experts are whispering that if the allegations of unauthorized wire transfers to third-party trusts are verified, it could trigger an immediate intervention by corporate oversight boards. The legal terminology flying around this case is terrifying for anyone trying to maintain a clean public image. Analysts on major news networks are openly discussing terms like breach of fiduciary duty, systematic asset diversion, and conflict of interest concealment. When an athlete signs over management rights to a partner, that partner is legally bound to act in the absolute best financial interest of the athlete. If it is proven in a court of law that a manager was using their executive power to enrich a separate household, the legal penalties can include complete asset forfeiture and massive civil judgments. The corporate brands that have spent millions of dollars aligning themselves with Claressa Shields are already executing their exit strategies in total panic. Major athletic apparel companies and energy drink giants have strict morals clauses built directly into their endorsement contracts. These clauses allow a corporation to instantly terminate a multi-year deal without paying a single dollar if the athlete becomes entangled in a public scandal that damages the brand's consumer reputation. The sudden loss of these primary endorsement checks would create an immediate liquidity crisis for the champion's camp. Insiders claim that Claressa's promotional team is currently holding emergency meetings behind closed doors to discuss a complete restructuring of her business representation. The promoters are fully aware that an athlete cannot perform at the highest level in the ring when their mind is completely consumed by a massive financial betrayal outside of it. There is an active push from senior advisors to force Papoose out of his executive position before the next major championship fight is officially scheduled. However, removing a manager who has embedded himself into every single layer of your corporate structure is a logistical nightmare that could take months to resolve. Meanwhile, the digital public is preparing for what could be the ultimate television event of the decade. Rumors are spreading that a major investigative television network is already filming a feature-length documentary detailing the entire collapse of this celebrity love triangle. Producers have allegedly been reaching out to former members of the camp, offering massive financial compensation for verified bank statements and exclusive text messages. The moment that documentary hits the screen, the entire narrative will be permanently locked in the public consciousness, leaving no room for PR spin or defensive live streams. The silence from Papoose's legal team is the loudest indicator that the walls are rapidly closing in on the operation. Usually, when a high-profile manager is accused of financial misconduct, their attorneys immediately issue an aggressive public statement threatening defamation lawsuits against the blogs. In this case, there has been absolute radio silence. The absence of a strong legal defense suggests that the team is currently scrambling to figure out how to explain the specific digital paper trail that links the Shadow Corporation directly to the Bronx Trust funds. The ultimate question hanging over the entire entertainment culture is how Remy Ma will choose to deliver the final blow to this collapsing empire. She holds all the cards, all the leverage, and the absolute adoration of the public. If she decides to walk onto a major talk show stage and display the original corporate documents, the conversation will be instantly over. The sheer anticipation of this move has the entire internet community sitting on the edge of their seats, refreshing the news feeds every single hour to see if the final drop has landed. This brings us to the moment of absolute truth for the audience watching this historical meltdown unfold in real time. We have watched a legendary sports champion get completely isolated, manipulated, and financially drained by the very person she trusted to protect her legacy. We have witnessed the ultimate triumph of silent, strategic composure over loud, aggressive internet rants. The receipts are fully laid out on the table, the forensic data is rapidly circulating through the media networks, and the final judgment is entirely in your hands. Do you believe that Claressa Shields can somehow salvage her public image and recover the millions that have allegedly been drained from her estate? Or do you believe this financial exposure marks the permanent end of her status as an untouchable sports icon? Do you think Papoose will manage to escape the legal consequences of this massive corporate scheme? Or is he heading straight toward a catastrophic courtroom defeat that will ruin his industry standing forever? And finally, is it time for Remy Ma to break her legendary silence and close this messy chapter with a single devastating public statement? Make sure you drop your absolute verdict in the comments below, so the culture can debate these facts in real time. Tap that like button right now to ensure this breakdown bypasses the corporate algorithms and reaches every single group chat on the timeline. Hit that subscribe button and turn your notifications completely on, because our investigative team is already tracking the next 3 major corporate leaks that nobody else is watching yet. You do not want to be the last person in your circle without the actual receipts when the next major bomb drops. Keep your eyes locked right here, keep your screenshots saved, and prepare yourself for the next update because this financial paper trail is just getting started. The receipts are fully laid out on the table, the forensic data is rapidly circulating through the media networks, and the final judgment is entirely in your hands. This is the moment where you get to decide how this historical celebrity meltdown officially ends. Do you believe that Claressa Shields can somehow salvage her public image and recover the millions that have allegedly been drained from her estate? Or do you believe this financial exposure marks the permanent end of her status as an untouchable sports icon? Do you think Papoose will manage to escape the legal consequences of this massive corporate scheme? Or is he heading straight toward a catastrophic courtroom defeat that will ruin his industry standing forever? And finally, is it time for Remy Ma to break her legendary silence and close this messy chapter with a single devastating public statement? Make sure you drop your absolute verdict in the comments below, so the culture can debate these facts in real time. We read every single comment, and we want to know exactly whose side you are on after seeing these numbers. Tap that like button right now to ensure this breakdown bypasses the corporate algorithms and reaches every single group chat on the timeline. Hit that subscribe button and turn your notifications completely on, because our investigative team is already tracking the next 3 major corporate leaks that nobody else is watching yet. You do not want to be the last person in your circle without the actual receipts when the next major bomb drops. Keep your eyes locked right here, keep your screenshots saved, and prepare yourself for the next update because this financial paper trail is just getting started.